Hello and welcome to English 111 Online, Johnson Community College, Fall 2025. Professor Jason Morgan here. We are at week 9, where we get to start Module D, as in dun dun dun. Okay, so what we did in Module C is that we picked a topic that we're going to write our research paper on, and we did some research on it. We did the source chart to practice finding some good sources, finding some good quotes, making sure they were good sources, and finding, practicing how we would incorporate those quotes into a paper. And now we're going to start building onto it a little bit more. And this week we're going to actually build an outline for the paper to kind of help us when we actually go to tackle the final draft of the research essay. So for this week, these are the things we're going to be doing. So let's go ahead and get to it, shall we? Yes, we shall. All right, so we're going to go to modules and go down to module D. Okay, so the magic word is ha 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 ha. I'm not gonna tell you that. Okay. So the writing and research. Okay, so now when choosing modes of development, you're like, what the heck does this even mean, Professor Morgan? Because there's even like a smart book assignment. This is just ways. The way that I would modes of development is just another way of saying how are you going to approach explaining the research that you're going to be doing. Okay. Okay, the mode is just a way, and development is how something is like created or expanded upon. It's just your way of expanding on the research. It's just the way you're explaining it. So don't get hung up on that big, whatever. So just do the smart book assignment there. That'll just kind of help you figure out, okay, hey, as I'm trying to explain the information that I found in my research, here are some different ways I can do it. Okay, so this is just helpful, again, more tools to help you figure out ways that you can explain yourself. Okay, and then in D3, again, this one is also a smart book assignment, using sources responsibly. Again, I'll just let you go through that, and that's one pretty self-explanatory. And then the research essay, the outline. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so again, if in module C, we're gathering the ingredients to bake the cake, but now we need to make sure we put the ingredients in a certain order. I mean, I'm not a much of a cook, but I do know that if I want to make a plate of nachos, I don't necessarily first thing I put down is the melted cheese. It's like I don't melt the cheese and then build the nachos. I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about D4, the research outline. And this is where you would upload it. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is that you've found 3 sources for sure already for your subject, and you need to find at least 5 to 7 overall. So you can use those 3 that you've done. So you need to find at least, again, 5 to 7 sources overall for your research paper. Now, again, you don't necessarily have to do a sources chart for the other sources you're finding. You're just finding more information, because the more information you get, the more ingredients you're going to be able to use when it comes to writing your paper. And because sometimes, like, oh my gosh, this paper has to be a certain length of, a certain length, and I've covered everything I need to cover, and my paper's short. Well, add more ingredients, add more evidence, add more of the research process, which we'll talk about once we get to the actual how do we do the research paper. But so this is just an example of how to create an outline. Okay. Again, you can read through this. It's kind of like, these are just kind of, again, the outline is a tool designed to help you. So it's really kind of broken up into 3 parts: the introduction, the research process and the search results, and then reflecting on the research process. Okay, so that's what the research essay is going to be. So section 1 is like, okay, well, what are some ideas? Again, you can just some ideas of what you're going to put in that first section. Section 2, again, these just gives you some things that you can do. And again, now the research process and the results, those paragraphs that you created for the source chart, that's where those paragraphs, those practice paragraphs, could go. Now, again, I wouldn't just necessarily copy and paste them from the source chart and put them in there, because you want to have some sort of coherent flow to it. But the vast majority of the information can be in there. You may just want to adjust like the first line and have it so it's like a nice transition from what came before. Okay, and then the last part is there's two more parts. The reflection, just one paragraph at the very end. Just kind of reflect on the research process, and just kind of look at these questions. Again, you don't have to answer each of these bullet points in the outline. These are just some things to think about that you're going to write in the paper. Now, very important. Okay, if you've fallen asleep, again, this is where you pinch your cheeks. Whatever you need to do to pay attention. You do need to include an MLA works cited page for the sources referenced in your outline. So if you're going to have 5 to 7 sources in your outline, now I've already shown you in the video that explained how to do the source chart. How you can find those sources and get them cited properly. Okay, but again, what I would do is go back to these the MLA formatting videos and watch the videos on explaining how to format the MLA for the works cited page, because you're going to put that at the end of your outline. So here's an example of a completed outline right here. Okay, so let's take a look at it. So, oops, that's the end of it. Okay, so this is an outline that that someone kind of just put together for their own thing. Section 1, the introduction. Okay, the research. There's section 2, the research process. These are just things that they're brainstorming, right? Okay, that they're using to kind of help them figure out what's going on. Okay, now again, this is up to you. The sources you're going to be using. Okay. And then here's their works cited page. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sources. Okay, but notice that this is the works cited page is on its own separate page. It's properly formatted. Everything's double spaced. It uses hanging indents. The sources are in alphabetical order by last name of the author. But it's on its own separate page. Okay, and again, that video up here, those videos, the MLA formatted videos, show you how to do that. Okay, so that's really the outline. So what I'm going to be looking for when I grade it is basically, did you give yourself something here for section 1? Did you give yourself stuff here for section 2 to kind of really help you kind of get going? Did you reflect upon the whole research process? So you're going to basically finish your research process by the time you get done with this outline. And then you're going to create that works cited page. And that's, and again, that is part of your grade. So a lot of students don't really pay a lot of attention to this part, and that's where they get dinged on the outline, is because they don't do a properly correctly formatted MLA works cited page. Okay, but again, I've shown you an example and I've shown you how to do that. Okay, so that's how the outline. And again, the outline, you just click there and you would upload that file, and there's the rubric you can look at to make sure that you understand how it is graded. Okay, so let's go back to Module D. Okay, and then the last thing for this week is that we have the grammar, punctuation, and style activity guides. Okay, so those are the 3 to do. And some of you are freaking out right now because you're like, Professor Morgan, you haven't told us what the magic word has. The answer is, yes, I have. I have right now. It's willow. Willow. The magic word is willow. You're like, oh, you made me wait all the way to the end? Yes, I did. All right, so there you go. That is the things that we're doing for this week. All right, thanks so much.